Through the use of the various exercises that you've given us on this and other CDs, we can see a means to free up many of the body tensions that we carry around with us all the time, and eventually to transcend the negativity that we feel about ourselves, about the world, about other people. Where does this all go?
Remember, body tension is psychic tension. I've laid down a number of principles in my upcoming book, which I don't know what the title is. It's either Energized Anxiety or The Anxious Ape. 3 basic principles. First one is love, the second one is adventure, and the third one is creativity. And in my view, in order to have a full life, one has to focus on all 3 of these aspects every day. In other words, what loving thing can you do each day? What thing can you do that provides you with adventure? And what creative thing can you do? Not just as a daily thing, but as a lifestyle thing. So I would like to present the idea that one should formulate one's entire life around love, adventure, and creativity. Now, many of these other concepts that we've heard before, such as intelligence, compassion, are assumed under these 3 categories. So there's no need for anyone to write me and tell me I left anything out, because I've included them all under one of these 3 categories. The practice of Tantra allows us to accomplish all 3 of these things in one experience. Love, adventure, we're doing something new. We are not conscious of the outcome of our adventure, and that is part of the meaning of the word adventure. We don't know what the outcome is going to be. And creativity. Now, the creativity is both relational and psychological at a personal level. As you practice more Tantra, and you, for example, might do the counting exercise once a week or once every 2 weeks or once a month, you will find that new images and new ideas will begin to occur to you, and you'll be able to take advantage of them. But that is not the purpose of it. The purpose of it is to do it and let your unconscious mind or your non-conscious mind come up with new and creative and adventurous and loving ideas on its own. And that requires an immense amount of trust in yourself, just as practicing Tantra and doing these exercises that I have described require. In other words, you need to learn how to trust yourself, and that really means you need to learn how to trust nature. One of the fears that people have of nature is its violence. And there is no doubt much violence in this world, both individually and collectively. But again, I go back to the concept of Carl Jung, the shadow, or as I prefer the term, the garbage pail. As you empty out your garbage each and every day, and this is one requirement I have of all of my students, particularly those that come and stay with me for 2 or 3 or 4 days, the first thing I say to them when they see me again in the morning is, what did we leave unfinished from yesterday? And that's the first statement you should ask yourself every morning when you wake up. What have I left undone? What did I start yesterday? What things didn't I deal with? What issues must I face and confront? that I didn't deal with yesterday that I want to deal with right now, this morning, at least be conscious of, write down, so I finish them. The more things you leave undone, the more things you leave unfinished, the more you become like those people you claim you don't want to be like. You become the darkness, you become the collective, you become the violent, you become the so-called evil. So by finishing things up in the morning from the day before, we try to start the day off clean and clear with the garbage pail empty. Now, Fritz Perls wrote a book which I enjoyed reading, and some of you will not know who he was. Look him up on Google. His book was called In and Out of the Garbage Pail, and he was talking about his life and life in general. And it's a fun book to read, but it does bring home the point that I'm making over and over again. If you do not deal with cleaning out your own garbage, you will not go anywhere except into deceiving yourself and deceiving those around you.
That brings to mind, I think it was George Carlin who once made a comment on the common phrase that people use, getting my shit together. He thought that was quite bizarre. I do too. Why would you want to get your shit together? Isn't that something you want to flush?
Most people do not want to deal with their garbage pail. They do not, under any circumstances, want to admit all their feelings of inferiority. And I'll say it again, inferiority, feelings of inferiority that they carry around with them all day long and respond to in the most bizarre ways all day long. Just watch them drive talking on their cell phone and almost killing half the population on the street, and yet 5 minutes later telling you how they pray to their God every day and how their hearts are full of love and compassion. Then put them back in their car, give them back their cell phone, and if you could give them a television to watch while they're driving, they would do that too. This is because you've made a false assumption. They have not reached the level of even being human. Now I know that's a logical problem by definition. However, it is the truth.